Welcome back to Terrible at Fishing, and today we're going to help you identify different bass. So let's get on with the show. Welcome back. When I first started fishing, I wanted to catch a bass. I kind of knew what they looked like, but I didn't know that there were different types of bass. I really didn't. Not only was I terrible at fishing, but I was terrible at figuring out what I was fishing for. So, we're going to talk about the different bass that you may have, and the most popular bass, and how to identify them. So let's look at a bass family ID chart. Bam! Okay, well actually, identifying bass really isn't that hard. Really, there's two main ones, the largemouth and the smallmouth. And by their definition, by their names, one's got a big mouth, one's got a small mouth. But there's more to it than just that. One, they fight differently, and they look differently. So let's look at them just a little bit. So if you notice, with the largemouth right here, notice that black line that goes down the middle of its body, where the smallmouth has stripes on it. It's got stripes. They're kind of faint, though. They're not real prominent, and he's kind of a sort of a mustard yellow. He's kind of got a yellowish hue to him instead of a greenish one that the largemouth has. Now, one thing about it, the largemouth, when it hits, it hits like a jackhammer. Boom, 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 boom. The smallmouth, it doesn't hit like that. Has a totally different hit. When it bites, it likes to run, but it doesn't jackhammer it. And so, one thing about a largemouth, the bigger they get, the bigger their mouth gets. They don't get real long. You're not going to find a 3-footer out there. No, but their mouths get really big. That's what's so cool about them. And because of the largemouth, the hook can come out of it. And so you got to set that hook really hard on a largemouth, or on a smallmouth, because it's a small mouth, you can just lift up on the rod and set the hook. So you don't have to yank on it. Not like you do with a largemouth. The largemouth can swallow your bait and spit it out again. So when it swallows it, you want to set that hook, because its mouth is so big. And you notice here too, this is a spotted bass. So the spotted bass is another bass that we have in some of the lakes, like Shasta Lake. It's about 2 hours from here. And when I go to Shasta Lake, they got a lot of spotted bass. And never caught a spotted bass before going to Shasta, but when I went to Shasta, I was catching spotted bass. And so these are really the three main bass that we catch. The best fighting bass, probably one of the best fighting fishes in freshwater you can get, is the smallmouth. Smallmouths won't grow as big as a largemouth, but they'll fight 2.5, 3 times harder. So with a smallmouth, you will get, if you get a 3 or 4 pound smallmouth, which is good size, by the way, it'll fight like a 10 or 12 pound largemouth. They are so much fun to catch. Now, where do these guys like to live? The largemouth, it likes to live in the brush. It likes cover, it likes weeds and stuff like that. The smallmouth, you're going to find that in almost the exact opposite type of environment, where you're not going to get a lot of cover, but you will get a lot of rocky bottoms. It does like to hide out in the rocks, and it likes a little warmer water. So rocks actually hold heat better. And so the smallmouth, they like to hang out in the rocks. And the spotted bass, I've caught very few of them, but I've caught a few. They like to be suspended a lot. So even though these three fish are the most popular bass in my area, the smallmouth, I know exactly where they're going to be, and I know exactly where those largemouths are going to be. So good cover, a lot of weeds, largemouth. Rocky bottom, boom, smallmouth. And those are the bass. You want the best fight, you're going to want to get the smallmouth. I mean, fight per ounce, they're the best. You want a bigger fish, then get a largemouth. So those are really the identifications of different different bass in your area. But if you have any questions, please just drop them below. Please like the video, subscribe, and we will see you guys out on the water, hard or soft.